The final step in the new award setup process is to activate the contract and set your project milestones. So we're going to return to the award profile here. We're going to navigate to the award tab, and then we're going to select the View Contract link. This lands you on the General tab, and you're going to navigate to the Lines tab here, and then select Detail. You'll see our product type is grants reimbursable. That was defined on the F&A pricing and distribution in the F-101. We either choose grants reimbursable, which means our billing system generates invoices based on costs that are posted to the ledger, or it's grants fixed, which means that we define the billing that happens under the award based on the sponsor's requirements. For a grants reimbursable product type, we just need to go in and define our billing plan by selecting the pending link. You'll see our sponsor is listed here, Northwestern University, and you can check your address here. I'm verifying this email address is what's listed in the invoice address from the sponsor. So my sponsor award has an invoice address here. And I'm just verifying that against here, and it does not match. So I'm going to select OK here and see if there are any other options. We'll see what this one is. Also an incorrect address, and there's a third. Let's see if this one has the correct one, and it does. So this is matches the invoice address that's listed in my award, so that's the billing address I'm going to select because this will show up on the invoice when it's generated from the system. Next, we move to the billing options panel. Our sponsor is private, so this should always match what we put on our sponsor type on the project tab initially. So we're going to select a private sponsor. We don't do anything with the next three fields here. If we need to copy another email address or send the invoice to multiple people, you can add billing header notes here, or perhaps there's a subaward ID or award ID, but there's also a purchase order number that you need to reference, and our field on the sponsor ID or doc ID is not big enough to accommodate all the numbers. You can add additional notes here that will print on your invoice. Next, we move on to the invoice form. This is federal flow-through, so I'm going to select my cost reimbursable with certification. This puts the Uniform Guidance required certification on our invoice for us, and our frequency will always be on demand. The bill by ID defaults to project, which is fine here. If this were a letter of credit project, we would have to change that to GM LOC. But in this case, it's not, so we're going to leave it at project. We skip the payment method. Payment terms are always immediate. And then we're going to select the billing specialist, which, as we indicated before when we were setting up the project attributes, it's Jordan. So I'm going to select him here, and I save my information. I'm going to return to general information here, and then I'm going to navigate to billing options here. I'm going to select my bill type again to private so that matches, and then you see that the billing address defaulted based on our sponsor table, so I'm going to update that to billing address 3 and save that. And that's all we need to do here. If this were letter of credit, we would generally not change anything up here, but we would be verifying that the appropriate letter of credit was selected here. I'm going to go back to my General tab. And under the detail, if this were a letter of credit, we would also see an opportunity to enter our doc ID, but we are just billing a paper invoice to the sponsor or an electronic invoice via email. So this is all we need to do prior to activating our contract. So now I'm going to navigate back over to General, and I'm going to simply change the status here from pending to active. I'm going to save it and return to my award profile. If I go back into View Contract just to take a look at what happened here, you can see my status for my billing plan is now ready. It's no longer pending. Now I'm going to navigate back to my award profile, and I need to set up GSU project milestones. So based on my sponsor award, I have a final progress report and a final invoice due 60 days after the project end date. So I'm going to go back to my home, and I'm going to select my GSU project milestone panel. I'm going to enter my project here, search, and a box comes up. I'm going to select my milestone type of invoice. My milestone code is 60 days after award end date. My award ends 6/30/29. So my invoice will be due August 29th. I'm going to save that. I'm going to add a second milestone. This is for our final programmatic report that's due by the PI, again, 60 days after award end date, to the sponsor. August 29th. This programmatic report and date entered helps to populate the closeout form requirements in the portal. So you want to be sure to enter the programmatic report milestone here. I think we were pretty inconsistent in the past in terms of tracking progress reports. It's not necessarily required that you enter annual progress reports if those are due, but you're definitely going to want to have that final progress report entered here so that the closeout form in the portal fills out correctly. We'll hit save. Again, if I say view all, I see both of my milestones, and that concludes the new award setup process in Spectrum. I move over to my award notice, and I enter my comments. I send this to my AD or director in this case, as Katie is approving. And today it doesn't want to find Katie, so I will add my comment and try to tag her after. I do note that this is forward funded. And I generally note that I set up the project milestones. I copy the post-award person that I did this for, because this is in Jordan's portfolio. See if I can search for Jordan. It's not finding anyone right now, so I'll try to tag them after I post this comment and then assign to Katie. And that concludes the new award setup process.